Eric Dickerson since high school, when he was the #1 running back recruit in the country.
One school came to the house. They brought a briefcase. And my mother came in. She said, Eric, she said, they got a briefcase in there. They got $50,000 in cash. She said, I've never seen that much money in my whole life. She said, I'm gonna tell you, if you don't want to go to that school, do not take this money. I don't want you to do that. But it was just crazy. You know, coming by your house. I mean, coaches would come by our house, and I'm sure yours too, and yours, at 1 in the morning. You know, Eric, you know, really, you know, if you don't think about coming here, I could lose my job. I'm like, lose your job? I mean, we're in the middle of the night. But that's how the recruiting process was.
You know, we tried to recruit him to USC. There was something about Eric that was different. You know, I mean, he was tall. He looked like a racehorse out there. Half the defense is afraid to tackle him, and the other half are too slow. So, see, you're gone. He'd run for a touchdown.
What was your second choice, by the way?
To go to school?
Yeah.
Really, my second choice was SMU. If it was left up to me, I'd have been a Sooner. I won't forget when Coach Whistler, he came to my house several times. The last time he came, I told him, yeah, Coach, I'm in. I want to come. And I would get my mother was sitting there, Viola was sitting there. She was real quiet. And my mother, when he walked out, she said, you're not going to school then. You ain't going to school then. I don't like that man. I don't trust it. So,
getting past Viola proved difficult, especially if a school came on too strong.
University of Texas, they came in. One of the coaches said, come in, let me talk to you, son. He said, look like you're not interested in your state school. We know you like SMU. He said, SMU will never beat us, ever. He said, I'll tell you what, son. He said, if you don't consider your state school, we'll make sure you don't get a job in the state of Texas when you got to college. And I mean, it kind of threw me back. I think I'm a kid. I walked away from him, went back. I said, Mama, make him leave. She said, huh? She said, I want him to leave. And she said, what did he say to you? And I told him, she said, oh, hell no, you'll never go to that school. So that's why I always hated Texas, because they were just so arrogant. And so I committed to A&M. I ended up committing to A&M through pressure from...
Word has it they made a little commitment to you, too.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, whatever.
Oh, I do remember the car. The Trans A&M. Yeah.
The story has always been that Texas A&M gives him a Trans Am to play for the Aggies, and he parked it at SMU. And then they called him and they wanted their car back, and he said, or what?
All right, I'm going to tell you the real truth about the Trans Am, since everybody wants to know. It's been what, 40 years about the Trans Am. The Trans Am was bought by my grandmother. That's who bought the Trans Am. That's the story. That's what I'm sticking with.
He's going to take that to his grave.
That Trans Am was purchased by his mom. They couldn't disprove it. She had the money for it. And I had the Trans Am.
That Trans Am later became mine. Yeah. No one gave me any money.
Sold it to my friend Charles Drayton, and I got another car, Corvette, you know. My grandmother upgraded me.
And it wasn't just isolated at one school. It was the whole culture.
It was all schools.
Everybody was doing it.
When you talk to the guys who went to Texas, they would say, oh yeah, I get 1,000 a month. So you got to take A&M. Oh yeah, I got a car.
But they weren't your cars, right? I mean, you guys just drove cars,
we just
right?
drove the car. We just drove the car. I mean, the car happened to be out there. You know, key in it with your name in it.
Ultimately, it was more car salesman than car that sold Dickerson on SMU.
Ron Meyer could sell you a bag of rattlesnakes and tell you, look, this is what you do. You put your hand in there. They're not going to bite you. I promise you. You're going to pull out a wad of money. And you believe it, like, okay, I'll stick my hand in there. I mean, Ron was just a real smooth guy.
He still is.
I think Ron Meyer carried a great deal of pull, but I think the check that he probably had in his pocket had more.
There was no envelope in the hand. But, you know, was Harry taken care of at SMU? Yeah. Did we buy him the car? No. We may have put gasoline in it, but we sure as hell didn't buy it. Our first scrimmage at SMU, I'll never forget, we had a linebacker coach, Steve Sidwell, who actually went on to coach in the NFL for a long period of time. And Eric was just killing the defense. And Sidwell, he had this really big voice, and I'll never forget him walking up and down the sideline. He was, men,
I just hope he's that good. I just hope he's that good. He was just that good. You just couldn't contain him. You never knew when he was going to break the big run, but you knew it was coming, so you never wanted to leave your seat.
And he used to run, and you could never hear your feet hit the ground. I think, how's he doing that? Just effortless.
Dickerson teamed with Craig James, number 32, to form one of the most potent backfields in the country, the Pony Express.
Simply stated, they are two Mustangs with horsepower.
Basically, we'd rotate games.
That's how it would start. Yeah.
We rotated series.
Yeah.
And time and again, we would come off and say, we're wearing them out.
He'll lose his position, if he lets up, and I'll lose mine if I let up. So in that way, we both have to stay on our toes.
I mean, people ask me this all the time. Man, you could have won the Heisman Trophy. You didn't split time. I said, maybe. I said, but I look at it like this here. I said, when I got into the NFL, I said, I felt like I was fresh. I hadn't been beat up. So I just felt like we saved each other.
Yeah, we did.
Despite sharing a backfield with James, Dickerson went on to break Earl Campbell's all-time conference rushing record.
SMU in the early 80s, I think some people forget just how good they were. And Eric Dickerson was, the main catalyst of that.
In 1982, Bobby Collins replaced Ron Meyer, who left for the NFL. The Pony Express rolled on, beating rival Texas and Dan Marino's Pitt Panthers on their way to an undefeated season. A single tie versus Arkansas was the only blemish on their record. Yet SMU was passed over for a national championship in favor of Penn State.
Joe Paterno was awarded a national championship that year. We had a tie, they had a loss.
We were the best team in the country that year, bar none. They can say the best team money could buy, whatever you want to say, but we felt that was our national championship.
The Mustangs felt cheated. Worse yet, cheating at SMU would soon threaten all that Dickerson and his teammates helped build.